Hey guys! The next part of this is probably going to look familiar for anyone that watched Father, Son, and Mother Moon, the framing, because I am going to take my time now to explain how I frame, because I was asked to. But anytime I try and answer questions through a regular video, people later ask me to put them in a cross-section knowledge video. So I'm going to talk through it here, but I'm just going to speed through it for the Father, Son, Mother Moon, so if you're interested to know about it, keep watching. If you feel you've already seen it and you don't care, don't worry about it. The first part is going to be showing how I frame things, and the second part is going to be when I talked about how I cut this out how I decided where to cut it and then fold and all that. So, yeah. The first thing you need to do before you even think about getting a frame is get the exact measurements. So Mother Moon is 7 inches or 18 centimeters by 5.5 inches or 14 centimeters. Father Son is 6 inches and 6 3/4 of another inch, nearly 7 inches by 17 centimeters, and 5 3/4 inches by 14 3/4 centimeters. They're not the same size. They are extremely close, but Mother Moon is slightly higher, and Father Son is slightly wider. Wider, yes. So, like, if you put them, can you tell? I don't know. But, I ended up getting frames that were much bigger than what they called for because, like, Mother Moon would fit in one that was 8 by 10, but Father Son wouldn't. He was too wide. I wanted to get the frames that looked good with both of them, so I ended up getting... Oh, no, wait, did I? I didn't say... It wasn't 8 by 10, it was 5 by 7? 5 by 8, 6 by 8? I don't remember. I didn't end up getting it, because although Mother Moon would fit into it, Father Son didn't. Anyways, it is better to get a frame that is too big for your project than one that is too small, because, I mean, unless you can magically make a frame bigger, which I can't because I don't know how to work with wood and stuff, you can get colored construction paper to, like put a frame within a frame, basically. I mean, a ton of frames already do that, so you don't need to think it's weird or anything. What I normally do when I go to pick out a frame is I kind of put the picture over it to see if I like the color with it, put it under to make sure it'll fit. Really, Tess? Really? It is time for me to feed her. Back to what I was talking about before Tessa rudely interrupted me by wanting lunch at the proper time. Anyways, yeah, it's much better to get a bigger frame than a smaller one just because, you don't want to hide your project. So from here, if I had a frame that fit perfectly around Mother Moon, I would go about 5 or 6 stitches up and across and cut right along the holes between the stitches. But because I'm putting them in a frame that is bigger than they are, well, I guess I might cut Father Son a little bit. Before I do any cutting, though, I'm going to take both of these frames out of the plastic and whatnot. So, the brown one I said would be Father Son. Father Son won't fit in here perfectly, so I'm going to cut a little bit off. It's better to not cut off enough the first time you cut than to cut too much. Only reason I'm not really bothering to measure right now is because I am going to put a frame within this frame, so I don't have to worry at all. So that's what he's gonna look like eventually when I'm done. I want this green to fit in the frame. So, since I know that this fits in the frame, I'm going to line it up on the paper. And if you can see, there's some stuff back here, so I'm just going to designate this as the back of the paper. So I'm going to take a pencil, draw very light lines on here, assuming that I can hold this down. This thing is really light. Okay, I'm going to draw dark lines so I can see. Oh, Tessa's hiding under the blanket. So, oh yeah, you guys can see the lines a little bit. That is where this baby comes in. Will it fit? I hope it fits. Okay, it will. So I'm going to cut along that line. Okay. And then, oopsie, cut along this line. Here we go. So this is done now. Review. And now we'll make sure that my paper fits. Because if it doesn't fit, it doesn't matter. Oh, it's slightly too wide. So, assuming I can get it back out. There we go. Now that it fits in there, I need to get it to frame father-son. So I'm going to start off by cutting out just a small piece in the middle to give me a better indication of where it is, because I don't want to make it too big of a hole. Open to square up. And then I'm just going to slowly make it bigger and bigger so that father-son fits. Fortunately, the centimeters don't have a perfect middle, like inches do. So that's the middle. So already the square I made is slightly off, but that's okay. No one's gonna cry over it. So because he is 6 inches wide, widest spot to the next. He's about 6 inches wide. Let's see. So these are nearly the same size already. This is the 8, correct? So on each of these, I am going to get it at the 1 inch mark. And then I said he was by about 7 inches, was it? Almost 7. So we'll do, let's see, 10 minus 3, 7, so 1.5. I am going to cut it slightly inside of that rectangle that I just made, just to make sure that, you know, it's not measured too big or anything. Now, Even if I lined it up properly, you won't be able to see all of him. So this is essentially what he's going to look like when I'm done. Okay, I need to move it up slightly, don't I? There we go. So now that I'm sure it's not too big, I cut this out perfectly, man. And I like it where it is. There's some spots here that frayed a little. I don't like the fray. I like the band the fray, but I don't like the fray on this frame. So, there we go. I've never cut fabric with this before, so let's see how this goes. I'm just going to cut it off enough because, as you can see, the tape has warped it a little bit, and pulling the tape off will only make it fray more. So... oh, maybe if I start it here. Oh, dang. And it still frays. Yeah. I think I'm going to stick with scissors for these. So I kind of want it to be like this. Now, the matter of making sure it stays perfectly where I want it to be, tape. I'm going to pinch it here. Oops, nope, that didn't work. So this is because a lot of times when you frame something, it's really hard unless the thing you're using is the exact same size as the frame. It will never be perfectly centered for you. So this is to make sure it is centered. It's hard to see because of the glare, but I will hopefully get a better... there we go. There's an angle. So I have a frame within a frame within a frame, because he has his own border, and then I have mine, and then the one I bought. So that's how I did that. Now I am about to do the same for Mother Moon. And it's going to go about the same way. So just like with Father Son. So instead of cutting out a middle piece like I did with the father-son one, I'm just going to straight up measure this one out. So I just marked, I got the midpoint is all I really did for that. Now, Mother Moon. Ugh, I'm just gonna cut her now, man. I measured her earlier to be 7 inches by 5.5. 5.5 by a little over 7, actually. There are a couple ways you can do this. Like if you know immediately how to measure it out, just go with that. But this is 7, so I go 2, 4, 6. And then if you add here, you get 6.5, and then you get 7. So, which leaves you 1.5 and 1.5. Just like with father-son, I'm going to cut out a little bit less than the rectangle I've made, just to make sure I've measured correctly and all that. Slightly too small. So I'm going to bring it out to the full area that I've cut it out for. Or I've measured it out for. Okay, that is much better. So, just like with father-son, I'm gonna taper down. So, normally in these things, they normally just have, a picture. So, it's a bit bulkier, which is why I'm pushing all this down as I move these. Usually it's not a problem, though. I don't think I've ever had one break because it was too bulky. And there is Mother Moon. So they both got their own frame within a frame within a frame. Bam. Maybe I can tilt this up a little bit. There we go. Nope. So, yeah. Takes a lot of measuring, a lot of cutting, but, eventually you get there. So a lot of times, oh, I guess I can, well, now it feels like it's too high above my head. It's creeping me out. There we go. Okay. With these, how do I explain this? So the actual whole frame itself comes out a little bit further normally than where this final edge is. So when you cut your fabric, you don't want to cut it to this inside spot. You want to cut it to this one back here, which is slightly further. So that's because, if you don't have an inner frame like the one I do, you don't have to worry about them being able to see the edges of your fabric and how it's frayed and, usually doesn't look very pretty. Framing a piece usually isn't difficult, it's just tedious because, you have to decide on all the details and how you want this or that and everything else. Okay, so I think this is something I will include in maybe the next cross-stitch knowledge video, but I'm just going to speed through this for the Arcanine and Growlithe pillow. What I'm doing is deciding how big I want the pillow to be, and since Growlithe is smaller, I'm going to do it based on Arcanine. What I've done with the pattern is I marked how far each of the spots are from the furthest point to the edge. This one's already touching the edge. And then there's a spot here and here and here. And then it's a perfect square of 60 by 60. And I want to try and get maybe at least 6 stitches around the edges, because if you do it really close, like if I were to make the pillow like wrapped immediately around the stitches immediately around Arcanine, and then I put stuffing in it, Arcanine would be very distorted. It would be really weird looking. So I'm still trying to decide, because he's not perfectly centered. I guess I could just go based off of this anyways. So let's see. I will add 6 to the bottom of Arcanine, and because it's touching the bottom exactly. So you know, I can leave the tape on. It won't bother me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's, you know what, maybe I'll do more than 6 actually. Where did I put my scissors? Hey Tess, there they are. Maybe I'll do 8, 7, 8, and then if I decide I want to make it smaller later, it won't be a problem. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right there, okay. And look, I've got Arcanine and Growlithe right here. Hey, Pearl. What's up, hon? So, when I cut fabric, I cut along the dots, not in between them, just because it's easier to keep it straight. Hey, Pearl. Hey, Pearl. There we go. So, perfectly straight along the bottom. Oh, and I guess I could clarify up there. Pearl! You punk! Because I want it to be 5 or 6 long, I cut it at 8 instead, so that I can fold it on maybe the second spot. Hey, Pearl. And then it will be that 5 or 6 that I want it to be. Pearlers! What are you doing? Get that butt out of my face! Don't butts in my face! Let me count just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I'm going to do it 8 past where the pattern is. I love you too, Tess, but you're in my way. You're in my way. You're being a little punk. You're being a punk. Oh, you have cross-stitch knowledge to pass along to everyone? Do tell. Everyone's curious, including me. Oh, you don't care. Go on. Go on. There you go. Okay, so this edge, there is only 1 spot, so I'm going to count 1 and then 8 more. So, oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then this side has 2, so I'm going to count 2 and then 8 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The top has 1, so it's going to be 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so Arcanine has been cut to the perfect square that I want him at. So that means he is 76 by 76. Is that right? Yep, 76 by 76. Because I added 8 on both sides. So it goes 60 to 68 to 76. So that's where I want Growlithe to be. So Growlithe started out 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Oh, sweet! This is beautiful. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I just did with Growlithe what I did with Arcanine before. He is 60 by 60, and then the points closest to the edge, I marked how many stitches there are between them and the edge. And from there, I'm going to add 8 again. But first I need to take Growlithe out of here, because I haven't done that yet. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They are the same size. I folded both of them on the third, what's the word I'm looking for? Stitch? There's 1 square, 2 square, and then along that third square is where I folded it. So, and in case I forget to make an outro for Cross Stitch Knowledge Part 4 after I've edited everything, I will make one right now because I'm at 50 minutes for this, for the framing. I think those were the only questions I really had since Part 3, framing and the cutting. So, yeah. I don't really know how else to explain it. Cut very slowly and in small portions when you're cutting the cross stitch itself, because the second you cut too far, you're going to regret it. You are going to regret it a lot. Thankfully, I can't say I've ever done that myself, but, you know, it could happen in the future because it happens. Crap happens to all of us. I will see you guys in the next part of whichever one this is going to go on to. I have no idea anymore.